Hi everybody, I hope you can hear me, I hope you can see me, and I hope this makes some sense. So welcome to the unimaginatively titled Comic Vlog Live End of Term Bring Your Own Board Game Special. With hindsight I probably should have put extravaganza, but that might be milking it a bit much. So, what's all this about, I hear you ask? Well, we're going to do the year in review, talk about a few things that's been going on, talk about plans for this channel going forwards, and that always sounds really sort of ominous. You know, when you say that, oh, I've got plans for the channel, here's the future of the channel. There's words guaranteed to strike fear into the heart of anyone who subscribes to a channel. Chat should be up, so let's see. Is anyone in the chat? No one's in the chat, and that's cool and groovy, and that's fine. Not a problem. Okay, back to what we're doing. So how is this going to work? Okay, so essentially play a board game against me while we're streaming. The dice is somewhere about there, and every 10 seconds it refreshes with a new dice roll. So that's my go. If you need 2 dice rolls, then wait for 2 rolls, or if you need to, like, you know, if it's flip a coin, you know, you can sort of say, okay, if it's odd it's tails, if it's even it's heads, you know. So you can use the dice however you want to structure the move. If you're playing Buckaroo, and you know, you say, okay Dave, are you going to take the sou or the boots off the saddle? Odds for this, evens for that, you know. Or what's the one? Jenga, this brick or that brick, you know. Work it out amongst yourselves. So if you win, right, write a comment saying that you've won, and do a victory lap, give yourself a high five, you know, pat yourself on the back, and bask in the adulation of victory against me remotely. So, and well played, worthy champion. And if I win, just say that I won, put it on the chat. And finally, if by the end of this stream we don't have a clear winner, whoever is and whoever you judge to be ahead in the game should be declared the winner. And I would suspect most likely it will be you guys, because I've got no way of verifying this, but I'm trusting you guys to fly right and do the right thing. So it's on you guys. Okay, we're good. It's good. We're okay. Smashing, brilliant. So before we get started, a minor update to the previous stream where I was using Inkscape to colour some comics. As it turned out, I wasn't very happy with them, so I just coloured them manually. However, Marshall Lee of Donkey Jaw Projects, the great man himself, sent me a comment on that video, saying that, you know, oh, using Inkscape to colour a comic, and I'm like, ah, right. I will look into that. I will look into the production of a comic with Inkscape. So you've inspired me, Marshall. So well done, sir. Well done. Right. Without any sort of further ado, I'm going to be checking the chat a lot, because otherwise this is basically me giving a PowerPoint presentation. That's no fun. Nobody's got time for that. Alright, so just checking the old chat. Not that I suspect there'll be a lot of people, and there isn't. And that's fine, it's cool, it's groovy. It's what we sort of expected, really. Alright. Let's jog on, shall we? So, what was I working on in 2018? I was working on 2 webcomic projects, which sounds ambitious, but it sort of worked out quite nicely. So, the first project I was working on was a little project called Behind the Sofa. I'm trying to be very clever here. You can't see it, but behind the curtains, I'm trying to fix. I'm trying to change my sources. I know it's something. It's like a well-oiled machine. So yeah, the first one I was working on was behind the sofa, which should be here, and hopefully you're seeing it. You're seeing it now. Are you seeing it now? Yeah, you're seeing it now. Okay, so this is. It was an intermittent set of comic strips, usually based on whatever had just happened in Doctor Who that week. There was a cast of characters. They were mainly monsters and aliens, and they had their own lives. So this is happens to be the end of the Peter Capaldi run. So yeah. It seems so sad. I'm just wondering if by any chance you saw. Yes, I saw it. Me too. Oh my god, it was so. Oh, sorry. Oh my god, it's so sad. Yeah. I don't want Pete to go. The feels. I can't even. And that was the end of the Peter Capaldi season. We didn't know who was going to be the new Doctor at this point. And this strip came out the day after, or very soon after, the new Doctor was announced. And our Santaran friend here, the guy in blue, he's not very happy. And the Zygon, who's the orange guy, sort of tries to talk him down. And it looks like, oh no, you disapprove of the casting of Jodie Whittaker. Oh, it's terrible, it's terrible. You know, and of course, the Santaran is, like all Santarans, just thinks that they're boys, young boys at school. He's not very good at identifying gender, so everything's actually very good. And then there was Christmas special where they all meet up to be the Doctor. Obviously you can see all this if you go to Tap Pass and look for Animated 2 Affairs, and that's me. I'll put links in the show notes, you know, to score. So this season I've gone for a sort of slightly more one panel view, one panel comic, more like a political comic you find in a newspaper. I've also gone black and white because I wanted to not spend so much time on these strips. I've got other things I've got to do, so that didn't last very long. That's the last one. So that's what I was working on. This season it's not gone very well, mainly because Doctor Who now comes out on a Sunday, which basically reduces my days of production by one. So when Doctor Who would come out on a Saturday, I'd have all the Sunday to come up with an idea, and I could draw it Sunday night, colour it Sunday night. I'd be working digitally, and essentially Monday morning I was just cropping it, putting some letters in and sending it off, done. And it would go up like just a couple of days afterwards, because it comes out on a Sunday, and because I'm going to work on Monday, you know, I work in the week, I don't get the time to really think of a good story or a good concept for the strip. And for the last 2 episodes I was so sort of, I hate to say the word bored, but I was kind of bored by the end of the series. I was like, okay. So I'm hoping the New Year's Day special will be something special. It needs to be a real humdinger of an episode, because then we've got all of 2019 with no Doctor Who. So yeah, that was Behind the Sofa. So that was going on at the start of the year. That just finished at the start of 2018, and I was starting on this project, which is called Consensus Reality. This is what I did my 100 days on. And there's a lot. There is a lot of this. This is probably somewhere in the region of about 120 pages of story, roughly. It's a lot. It's a spin-off from Behind the Sofa. The characters are doing their thing, and I'm throwing you in the action here on page 30. You see some sci-fi Star Wars stuff going on, and then next page we can see the here are some heroes here. These are all V. Buck Rogers and Dan Dare. And then there's a bit of a fight sequence, and then it turns out that the hero is just walking into a wall because it's a video game. Yeah. So this was consensus. This is consensus reality. It's Behind the Sofa, the movie, and that was progressing really well. So this is an A5 folder, and I've thumbnailed out huge, great big swathes of this story. There's tons. There's loads of it, right? This is the second volume of these, so I've already filled one of these up, and I've got a really big buffer on there, and we'll talk about that now. So those are the two projects I was working on. What happened? The tablet died. It went completely futs, which is annoying because at the time I'd got a really big buffer for consensus reality. I'd got updates potentially scheduled well into September at the point it died, which meant I'd got a few weeks to try and get it fixed, and ultimately I got a few weeks to sort of tell the readers we're going on indefinite hiatus on this one because of the dead tablet. We'll talk about the resolutions of that story later on. So in the interim, I sort of decided to do anthologies. I'd already started on a submission for an anthology. I'm just going to quickly check on the chat. Fway. Hi Fway. Fway Storm's in the chat. You haven't missed much, mate. I'm just literally talking about the projects that I've been working on at the start of this year. Basically 2 web comics. So to bring you up to speed, do some web comics. Had a big buffer on the tablet, which is a rookie mistake. The tablet went belly up, and I've lost 6 or 7 months of work. So I had to mothball those sort of back in sort of June or July. So a lesson there, I think, to be sure. I forget what I was at. Oh yeah, and so I ended up doing some anthology work, which is difficult because I'd already done a couple of anthologies submissions this year. So let's talk about the anthology submissions that I've done. Just going to switch the source. So yeah, I'd done yeah, oh there we go. Yeah, so I'd done this digitally. This is from a project called Hope Has 4 Legs. This was done earlier this year, and it was a submission for 24 panels, which is an image anthology to sort of raise funds, or it's a sort of a charity sort of anthology for the victims of the Grenfell disaster. Didn't get accepted, and so I'm quite happy showing you this page. This was digital, and this was done roughly maybe 6-8 weeks, 2 months before my tablet went belly up. So after that, I'd already started an anthology submission for True Believers, and tablet dying put a bit of a real sort of strain on stuff. I couldn't not do it. I'd already roughed it all out, but most of it was digital. So my problem was what to do. So it was like, okay, I'm guessing we're going to have to work digitally, which means I've got to sort of, you've got to sort of now get all the steps in place that you normally have over a number of years. Like, make sure you've got a scanner, make sure you've got some nice paper to draw, make sure you've got like nice pen to draw with, a nice pencil, or at least you've got tools that allow you to get artwork from A to B and get it into a computer so that you can do scanning and all this stuff. So that's what I've been having to deal with that creation of our first traditional production. So that can be found, and I'm going to show you some of it now. I'm going to show you a little excerpt from that. So if I switch my source yet again, we're switching the sources like Billio at the moment. This is the website for the True Believers comic convention and anthology, and yeah, I know it's a bit orange on green like that. My eyes, goggles, they do nothing. But this is their mailer for November 5th, and it's sort of made it sort of a pseudo official. Here's some Bruce Timm construction chart for Batman, which is brilliant. Love Bruce Timm's work. And here is a still from our comic submission. This is called the Play Manual, and it features a knight. Well, it features a pair of knights, sort of facing up to a dirty, great, big fire-breathing dragon. And yeah, there's a gag in there. One of the knights is called Leroy, so we put the Leroy joke in there. And yeah, this is the second project I worked with Lee on, and yeah, working with Lee is great. It's great to have a writer who can just give you 5 pages or 4 pages, or as many pages as you need, like that. So this was done. This was done traditionally, inked digitally, and sort of types out with a desktop. So I just thought I heard rumblings from upstairs. Okay. So I did that one. That's obviously been announced in November. This is coming out in February, and then finally, Lee sent through a script for another anthology submission, which is called Good Boy, and this is it. This is the first page. This is going on the Star Cups anthology. This was only submitted Tuesday. So this was submitted Tuesday. The deadline for this is January, so we're early. I'm quietly confident that hopefully that it'll get in and get published, and that'll be 2 submissions. So let's quickly check on the old chat. My brother has just turned up. He was shopping for paper plates. Well, that's great. I hope you found some. Oh, I'm glad you liked the page, Ray. Yeah, I really enjoyed this colour in this. So I'm going to have a sip of Coke here. If I was professional, that'd be water. And if I was less professional, I'd have something else in there, but it's just Coke. Yeah, I really enjoyed putting it together, Good Boy, and colouring it. I wanted to have sort of slightly sienna tones, earth tones, and as it is, it turned out the first couple of pages I'm looking at going, this is very similar to some of Ed Piskor's work, with that retro X-Men stuff, and it's got that retro vibe I'm trying to go for. So I really am very happy how it turned out. How long does that page take me to do from start to finish? So I reckon I do it in chunks. So this penciling took about half hour, inking it took about an hour, So that gets in that gets me to inks. The colouring took about 2 hours. So what's that? 2, 4. It's about 6 hours worth of work there. Which sounds like a lot, but it wasn't really, because it's split up over time, you know. Also, when I do a comic, reaching into my bag, I tend to thumbnail it on paper, onto A4 paper as a book. This is actually this is some thumbnails I'm doing for another project. This one's more horror based, or at least tension. This one's about an escaped serial killer. It's only half done, it's not really finished, but I tend to draw it at least 2 or 3 times. Some pages for this project, this for Good Boy, took days and days and days. Redraw. And there's 16 pages in this one. This is a big anthology submission. It's huge. The submission guidelines were, they said the minimum count is like 4, but maximum 16. I sort of said to Lee, should we just push the boat out and go crazy? And he came back with a 16-page script, which was just to die for. So yeah, I coloured. Yeah, because it was essentially, I worked in batches as well. So I would do all the pencils, ink all the pages, do it in batches, you know. So I can tell you that it took me a week to colour 7 pages. So that is 7. I get an hour at lunch, and I get a couple of hours in the evening. So it's about 21 hours, roughly, to colour 16 odd pages. To colour 8 pages. Sort of extrapolate out that way. So yeah, go with that. Right. So yeah, that's going to, hopefully, if it gets accepted, then that'll be next year. That'll come out next year. So I guess we'll switch back to my boring PowerPoint. Yeah, Mike, there's a PowerPoint presentation in here. I thought you might like that. Okay. So what's our plans for 2019? So this is where it gets fun. So Little Heroes Anthology, yeah. So Space Cops, that's the Good Boy project. That deadline. The hard deadline is January. Soft deadline is start of February. So effectively, I've got all of January. That, in case editorial come back and say, "Oh, can you change this, and this?" Well, okay, then I'll change this, and this. There's also submissions have just opened for Little Heroes Anthology, and the theme for that one is science. I really want to do something for that, and Lee's probably going to knock something together, but we'll see. So that's a potential. That's a potential, but that means we'll have to work on it in January. But also in January, I start on another anthology. Yeah, I know. I keep saying anthology; it starts to sound weird. This one's for D100s. Anyone that's done the 100 Days Challenge is a member of D100s. They're putting together a new book, and it's werewolves versus unicorns, basically mythical beasts. That's a solo piece. This one will be a solo. I'm flying solo on that one. I've got a script. I started thumbnailing, well, halfway through thumbnailing, but I suspect we'll probably start seriously in January. So the only way for this to sort of be useful is that any work I do for Space Cops or Little Heroes would have to be covered under the 100s video updates. Just say, you know, I did some stuff on this, I did some stuff on this, and I did some stuff on this. So D100s will take us into, well, March, probably into April actually. And I've got a potential illustration project in that might start in February and go to April. It remains to be seen. It's all a little bit up in the air, but it is what it is. We shall see what what becomes of that one. So this is like our first, I don't know, 6 months of the year, and this stuff is kind of sort of already kind of set in stone. Little drinky. Now, with a bit of luck, I might need to do anything for the Dark Ops anthology, this red one, and it'll just be this yellow, orange and green, and then they'll have to factor that into at a later date. But we shall see. I mean, one of the good things is about the hundreds is it's 4 pages. I've got a 4-page submission. It's black and white, 4 pages. I've already scripted it. I've already thumbnailed 2 pages, so I'm pretty confident we can get 4 pages inked and coloured and penciled or not coloured in 100 days. I'm pretty confident about that. 25 days a page. Yeah, I think we can manage that. So what else do I want to do this year? For next year, 2019. I'm going to look at these things, and these are things I would like to get in. These are sort of like stretch goals. Because at least the first 4 months of the year is already sort of tied up, but the rest of the year, this is what I'd like to put in. So I'll do 5 blasts from the past episodes of the Unimaginatively titled comic vlog. These will be looking at old projects, just telling you a bit about these old projects that I've done. There'll be I think there's a couple of books, some poster designs. There'll be some digital art and a few other bits and bobs, but that'll be the 5. More live drawing streams. So the reason I can stream at the moment is because the wonderful and delectable Mrs. Hindley is currently out rehearsing for a panto. So I'm home with the child upstairs. My daughter Polly, she's asleep upstairs. Yeah. And obviously panto finishes in January, but she might be going back on the boards, treading the boards for a summer production, which I think is in April, so we might be able to crowbar something between now and then. And she might definitely want to do the autumn production, so there'll be more from, say, I don't know, September onwards. So there's an opportunity there to make some live stream drawing videos. I'll need to make weekly videos for the 100 days of making comics for the anthology submissions. I'm going to use the same technique I did for the last one, which is basically shoot a small video section every day and then compile them together and upload digests for the week. Although I might do 10 days because then the maths works out better. I've got an idea to do some short comic projects, like 1 to 8 pages. I've got some ideas for some 1-page comics. And if I'm doing 1-page comics, I might as well do one in Inkscape. So Marshall, if you're watching this, stay tuned. We'll be making a comic in Inkscape, so and I'm hoping to in some way resurrect Consensus Reality, either by finding a way to get the data off the tablets or get a new tablet. One way or the other, we'll have a better idea probably later on in the year about that one. I'm just going to check the chat because I've chatted a lot. I tend to gab away. Oh god. Nice to see. Oh, Fway's got some goals set out for me. Oh, thank you, Fway. Yeah. Yes, and as Michael. Sorry, that's very vicious. As my brother Mike points out, yes, the Who on Who coffee table book is a book I started to put together and didn't finish. But are you saying I should finish it, or are you saying I should do a blast from the past about it, Mike? What do you mean? nothing. That's fair enough. Yeah, I'd like to try and set some kind of goals out for the next year, which I'll see how successful they are. Oh, sorry, I should have done a spit take then. Thanks, Mike. Both. Okay. My brother's just thrown down a gauntlet. He's just challenging me to make a book, an art book about something that I worked on for 10 years. And actually, my 10 years. 9 years. 2009 to 2018. Yep, 10 years. No, 9 years. Of doing monthly art for a podcast. And lots of fun. There was a lot of fun, actually. It was a real fun time. But yeah, okay. Alright, Mike, I'll do that. I will definitely grab the bull by the horns and do that. What else are we going to do? I think that's pretty much it, really. I mean, this is me talking through this stuff. I hope it hasn't been too boring. Let's throw the chat open to you guys, all three of you. Do you guys have goals for 2019? Do you guys have things? I don't want to say resolution. As soon as you say resolution, you crowbar it in with unsuccessful gym memberships, But you guys got things that you want to get accomplished in the forthcoming year? Let me know in the chat. I wonder if I can quickly show you another page from Thingamajig. From Thingamajig? Oh God, Dave, it's really bad. Right. I wonder if I can show you some more. Another picture from Star Cups. I wonder if I've got here. No. Well, okay, I can show you this. This is the. Remember last week I was talking about colouring in Inkscape. Yeah, this is the page that I coloured in using Inkscape. Let's find that now. And it was okay, but I'm using my mouse here, I'm using my cursor. I wanted this bit to be way more vibrant, and it just didn't really sort of work for me. But I'm gonna refine that idea. I'm gonna work on it. I'm gonna make it better, and then get back to you with a better set of tools of working with Inkscape to make comics. So, yeah. Oh dear, I've done a lot of talking. I'm gonna have to get a lot better at. Frey's got some stuff. Frey's long list of goals for 2019. Some are realistic, others might not be so realistic, but it'd be fun trying. Oh, that's really good. I think that's the thing, isn't it? I think some people say, I'm gonna, my New Year's resolution is to do this thing, and it's usually something like, run the London Marathon or do this stuff, and maybe it should just be, I just want to get better at running. It's achievable. Some short comic projects. Oh, nice. How to write comics books. Oh, fantastic. Yes, I've heard about it. I did see, I think it was your last stream, Flag. You did mention you've got a writing comics book coming out either now or probably very early 2019, and I'll be very interested to have a read of that for definite. So I'll be very interested to read that. I'll be watching with bated breath on that one. And you want to get back on the convention circuit? Oh wow, it's been 4 years. 4 years since you've been at the convention. Oh man, if you do get back on the convention and you're sort of down in the south east anywhere, you just give us a shout. And if I get a chance, if I get the opportunity, I might turn up and say hi. Is the hope, but yeah, I don't mind going to I've never been to a comic convention. I've never been to any of those things. I would love to table at a convention, but obviously to table at a convention, you need like physical, hold it in your hand, comic books. You know, I don't have enough content yet. That's part of the reason why I'm doing all these small projects. Oh, you keep me posted. Thank you, Frey. I waited with bated breath, mate. Bated breath. Yeah, my sort of rough scheme is not to jump straight into writing a 32-page comic. My rough scheme is to make lots of smaller comics and put them together into like an anthology. Because I figure it's easier to write an 8-page comic, you know, with beginning, middle and end, or even a 12-page comic, or just something small that you can work on for a few weeks or a couple of months and say, okay, it's done. I mean, I keep drawing this character anymore. I can change styles and do something else. I can, you know, I can make the next comic with a photocopier, with shadow puppets, or with just go crazy with it, you know. And it allows you to sort of really experiment with style, with art styles, with writing styles, with subject matter, and then stick them all together and say, here's like, almost like, you know, like a pop star makes an album, here's my album, you know. Yeah, and yeah, so I mean, I'm kind of, it's very sort of positive, I think. I'm kind of excited for 2019, very excited, you know, very excited, can't wait to sort of get cracking. And of course, there's always the hope that these streams will get better, you know. I'm doing it with crappy well, actually not crappy hardware, I'm doing it with decent hardware but on a crappy internet connection, so we shall see. Hopefully, you know, you never know, might get better. I'm gonna have to start wrapping things up now, I'm afraid, you guys. So before I go, I just want to quickly talk about this dice rolling thing here. Originally, when I wrote this in the week, there were 4 dice, all different colours, rolling around. What I'll do is I'll fix that code up and I'll put it up somewhere. Sorry, Mike, you just put something there. I tried an experiment of drawing the same story. Yes, I have. And interestingly enough, Faystorm was talking about it in his last stream. Now, it is called something like 99 Ways to Tell a Story, if memory serves. And it's the same scene. I think it was a guy opening his fridge, and it's told in lots of different styles. Frey, if you're still listening, or if you're still watching, am I right? Did I remember that right? Let's take a drink. As I was saying before, is I'm going to sort of try and fix the original code that I'd got done, and I will put it up online for people to use whatever they want, you know. We'll find somewhere to put it, like GitHub or somewhere, and you can use it for whatever you like, you know, role-playing games, something in the background, who knows. 99 Ways to Tell a Story, it's an exercise style. Thank you, Frey, thank you. I'm glad I remembered it. I'm glad you helped me as well. So first up, thank you, Frey, for bringing that up last week. I would not have had a clue otherwise. So again, thanks, mate. So it's coming up to that time, I'm afraid to say, you guys. I'm going to have to sort of wend our merry ways, and you guys probably have to do similar. So first up, I want to thank everyone for watching. If you like this stuff, or if you think some of this content is going to be interesting, hit the bell, do the whole subscribey dooby dooby doo, and subscribe. and there'll be content. So first, yeah, thanks for watching, thanks for contributing, because this would just be me talking at a laptop otherwise. And then I want to say, have a Merry Christmas, have a peaceful time, have a great celebration, good old drink, or whatever you guys want to do to celebrate, and I hope to see you all refreshed, renewed, revigored in 2019. Yeah, so I'll say goodbye everyone. Okay, bye.